May 20th, 1967. Deep in the remote wilderness of Canada, a man stumbles out of the forest, his clothes burned, his skin seared in a strange grid pattern. He gasps for air, his body trembling. He claims he came face to face with something not of this earth. Was it a government experiment gone wrong? A hoax? Or proof that we are not alone? This is the Falcon Lake incident, one of the most chilling and well-documented UFO encounters in history. And to this day, the truth remains unknown. Welcome to Old Around the World, where we travel back in time to bring histories back to life. It was May 20th, 1967, an ordinary spring afternoon in the Canadian wilderness. Stefan Michalak, an amateur prospector and industrial mechanic, ventured into the dense forests near Falcon Lake, Manitoba. He was searching for quartz and silver, a hobby he had pursued for years. But what he found that day would change his life forever. While examining a quartz vein, Michalak's attention was suddenly drawn to the sky. Two glowing, cigar-shaped objects descended from above, hovering in the air. One quickly flew away, but the other landed just meters away from him. As an experienced outdoorsman, Michalak was both fascinated and cautious. He slowly approached the strange craft, unsure of what he was witnessing. As he got closer, he noticed the object was disc-shaped, about 35 feet in diameter, and covered in a reflective, metallic material. The air around it felt warm, and a strange humming noise filled the air. Michalak, a man of science, dismissed the idea of extraterrestrial visitors. Instead, he assumed it was a top-secret military aircraft. But what happened next would defy explanation. Michalak's curiosity drove him closer to the craft. He observed intricate paneling on its smooth surface, with what looked like a grid-like vent on one side. He reached out and touched the hull. It was scorching hot. His glove melted instantly. Then, something even stranger happened. A hatch opened, revealing a brightly lit interior. He could hear muffled voices inside, speaking in an unknown language. Thinking they might be military personnel, he called out in English, then in Polish and Russian. But there was no response. Moments later, the hatch slammed shut, and the craft began to vibrate violently. Without warning, a blast of hot gas erupted from the vent, striking Michalak square in the chest. The force sent him flying backward, his shirt instantly catching fire. A searing pain spread across his body as the UFO lifted off and disappeared into the sky. Dazed and in excruciating pain, Michalak struggled to make his way back to his motel. His vision blurred, his body drenched in sweat, and a strange metallic odor clung to his skin. When he finally arrived, his condition had worsened. He vomited repeatedly and felt an intense burning sensation across his torso. Doctors at a local hospital were baffled by his injuries. A grid-like burn pattern had seared into his skin, exactly matching the vent from the craft. His symptoms resembled radiation poisoning, nausea, headaches, and hair loss. But tests showed no traces of radiation in his system. As news of the incident spread, skepticism grew. Some believed Michalak had fabricated the story, while others suspected he had stumbled upon classified military technology. But one thing was certain: his injuries were real, and his life would never be the same. In the weeks that followed, both the RCMP and the Canadian military launched an investigation. They searched the area where Michalak claimed the craft had landed, and what they found only deepened the mystery. At the site, investigators discovered a perfectly circular patch of burned vegetation. Radiation levels were higher than normal, but not lethal. Even more puzzling, pieces of radioactive metal were embedded in the rock, as if they had melted into the surface. Where had they come from? Scientists determined the metal contained traces of silver and radioactive isotopes not commonly found in nature. Despite their findings, authorities refused to confirm or deny that something extraordinary had happened at Falcon Lake. As public interest in the Falcon Lake incident grew, government agencies remained tight-lipped. Officially, they claimed there was no evidence of extraterrestrial involvement. But declassified documents later revealed that the U.S. Air Force had also taken interest in the case, linking it to other unexplained UFO sightings. Some believe the Falcon Lake incident was part of a larger pattern of UFO encounters during the 1960s. Others argue that Michalak may have encountered a secret military test vehicle, one that authorities were desperate to keep hidden. Was this an extraterrestrial craft? A classified government experiment? Or an elaborate hoax? Decades later, the Falcon Lake incident remains one of the most well-documented UFO encounters in history. Months after the Falcon Lake incident, Stefan Michalak continued to suffer from mysterious health problems. His burns healed, but he experienced recurring symptoms: dizziness, nausea, weight loss, and sudden episodes of blacking out. Doctors were baffled. Some suspected radiation exposure, but tests yielded inconclusive results. As time passed, the burns on his chest would mysteriously reappear, flaring up in the same grid-like pattern. This perplexing symptom continued for years, defying medical explanation. His son, Stefan Michalak, recalled how his father's health declined as the event haunted him for the rest of his life. Michalak never sought fame or fortune. In fact, he regretted ever speaking out. The attention brought ridicule, harassment, and relentless questioning. The experience had left scars, both physical and emotional, that he would carry for the rest of his life. As news of Michalak's encounter spread, the media frenzy grew. UFO enthusiasts championed his story as one of the most credible alien encounters ever recorded. Skeptics, however, dismissed it as either a hoax or a misinterpretation of a natural phenomenon. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police, RCMP, and the Canadian Air Force continued their investigation but released little information. The lack of transparency fueled speculation. Was the government hiding something? Was this a UFO cover-up? People were divided. Some believed Michalak's detailed testimony, while others accused him of fabricating the story for attention. Yet, no one could explain the physical evidence: the burned ground, the radioactive metal fragments, and the strange burns on Michalak's body. Scientists and investigators analyzed every piece of available evidence. The burn marks on Michalak's body, the high radiation levels at the site, and the unknown metallic fragments all pointed to something unusual. But was it extraterrestrial? Experts determined that the metal samples contained a unique combination of silver and other elements, some of which had radioactive properties. This raised questions. Was the craft a secret government experiment, or something even stranger? Some scientists suggested Michalak might have encountered a natural geological phenomenon: plasma discharges from the Earth's crust, which could explain the burns and strange lights. Others speculated that he had inhaled toxic fumes from underground gases, causing hallucinations. But none of these theories fully explain the evidence. For decades, Stefan Michalak stuck to his story, never changing a single detail. He never sought fame, never made money from his experience, and never claimed to have encountered aliens. All he knew was what he had seen with his own eyes. In his final years, Michalak reflected on that fateful day. He believed that whatever he had encountered was not of this world, but he had no proof, only scars, memories, and an unsolved mystery. His son, Stan, carried on his father's legacy, determined to separate fact from fiction. He spent years researching, trying to understand what had happened at Falcon Lake. To this day, the case remains one of the most credible and perplexing UFO encounters ever recorded. More than half a century later, the Falcon Lake incident continues to intrigue skeptics and believers alike. The Canadian government eventually declassified its case files, yet no definitive explanation was ever given. The mystery remains unsolved. Some believe Falcon Lake holds the key to understanding UFO phenomena. Others see it as a cautionary tale about jumping to conclusions. But one thing is certain, something extraordinary happened on that spring day in 1967. The truth may never be fully uncovered, but the Falcon Lake incident stands as a chilling reminder that, sometimes, reality is stranger than fiction. The Falcon Lake incident remains one of the most baffling UFO encounters in history. Was Stefan Michalak truly burned by an extraterrestrial craft? Or is there another explanation hidden beneath decades of speculation? What do you believe? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of Canada's most famous unsolved mysteries, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new documentary. Share this video with fellow mystery seekers, and join us as we uncover more hidden truths from history. Thanks for watching, and bye, history lover.